Well, first of all, Alex, not a good day yesterday, of course, when popular man in David Hartel lost his job as the manager, but then you've been asked to take over as well. First of all, you must be honoured about that, to be asked.
Yeah, but I want to touch first, Graham, on I've worked for Dave for many years. He's a real club man, and I would imagine there aren't many people that have captained the club to promotion and managed the club to promotion. He was a great fella to work for, and obviously the overriding feeling from us all was one of sadness because he cared deeply about the club. So in that sense it was a really awful day, to be honest. But
for you, obviously, you've been part of the management team, you've been part of this football club for many years as well. How does it feel that you have been the choice to be asked to take over?
Yeah, well, we've got an important 4 games between now and the end of the season. We've got a mini 2-week season, haven't we, essentially? And my job, along with Lee Bell, Kenny and the other staff, is to ensure that in the interim between now and the end of the season, something positive starts to happen on the pitch, because that hasn't happened all too often, has it, this season? We're in a terrible run of 15 out of 16 games losing, and being brutally honest, the main objective has to be to give our supporters something to hold on to, something to grab, something to be buoyed about over the coming 2 weeks that follow, because all too often this season they've left games disappointed.
Obviously, when there's a change, the game goes on and it's on with the job. I suppose there's been a lot of meetings between you, your staff, the board of directors and everything. But from boardroom level, what have you been told by the board and the chairman? What are they looking for? They're
looking for a response on the pitch, aren't they? They're looking for the things that are associated with this club out on the pitch to be more evident than they have been this season. You know, we're renowned for playing good football, we're renowned for playing attacking football. All too often that hasn't been evident. But I think above all else, before any of that comes, you've got to see some form of response from the players in terms of heart, energy, drive, intensity, all of those things. And at the minute it's just words, isn't it? I mentioned to you pre-match, didn't I, the other day, that everything's futile word-wise. It's got to be, it's got to be followed through with actions, and that starts on Friday when we've got a good opportunity to win a game of football.
Managers carry the can, they have to run, they have to lead from the front. It's rock bottom, there's no doubt about that. You're coming in at rock bottom. Relegation, fans not happy, can't win a football game. So how can you lift it all in that short space of time?
In truth, it can be lifted. It can be lifted. We've got ideas, I've got ideas on exactly how we can lift things around the place. Momentum in football, as in life, it's really important, isn't it? It can go both ways. So we can stop that momentum shifting downwards quite easily with the things that we do. The ideas that we impart on the players, the things that we say, and that's not just on a match day, that starts tomorrow. So when I address the players tomorrow, there will be things there that will be said for effect, because they need loving. And I'm not saying they haven't been, far from it, but if it comes from a different angle, in a different way, with a different style, then it can just generate a little bit of a change. It can be a catalyst for something positive to happen. And ultimately, when those things happen positively around the training ground, it can have a beneficial effect on a match day. And once they win a game of football, or they're competitive in a game of football, and we're not on the end of a loss, which has been all too often seen recently, it can generate a real change. And that's what we aim to do.
Since you come into the first team setup, which is a few years ago now, you would have gathered everything, wouldn't you? You would have been storing everything, you would have been watching everything. Are you a leader from the front in terms of standards and discipline? Is that something that you want to get into the players of what it means, and some pride in there as well?
That's right at the very top of my list, because without those things, anything you speak to them about technically, tactically, goes out the window. The standards have to be high. It's something I'm a big believer in. It's something that the rest of the staff are big believers in. We spoke about it at length this morning. So we had a hit list, a checklist of things we needed to speak to this morning. And many of the things did resonate around that. Standards, having the right characteristics around the training ground, making sure that you prepare properly, and all the other things that are a byproduct of that just happen. You get lucky when you work hard and you prepare properly.
Well, you've been a manager at under 23 level. This is right at the senior level, right at the firing line. Just try and explain to the fans the managerial style of Alex Morris.
Well, I've been really lucky. I've been working at this club for around about 18 years, I'd say now. I came straight off the back of playing here to then being a coach here, and I've gone through various jobs. from pre-academy all the way up to now, obviously, you know, having the honour of managing the team. And I've worked with some great people, learnt off some great people. I've digested loads of things that I've taken from those people. Sometimes I use those ideas, sometimes I park them to one side because they're not for me. And hopefully my style will be versatile enough to have an impact on the players. I say hopefully, we genuinely think we can have a real good impact over the next 4 games to ensure that things on the pitch, not necessarily, we can't guarantee results. That would be a nice bonus. It'd be certainly nice if we get 4 wins out of 4. That's what we're aiming for. But what we can guarantee is a response in terms of the energy levels and the desire and hopefully the style of football that's going to be seen.
The worst letter in football is R next to your name, and it happened at the weekend, of course. That spelt relegation. But do you feel, unfortunately, the door is shut on that particular regime, and a new door opened sort of early this week? It
has to be. It has to be. We're at rock bottom, aren't we? We're at rock bottom. Everybody's disheartened. Everybody's dejected, and I'm talking about the supporter base because that's what matters to us. Around the building, of course, when you're losing every week, it has a negative effect on everybody. That's just the way it is. Such is life. So we've got to arrest that slide. We've got to build over the next 4 days to have a foundation for what's to come next season. So the things that are happening around the building in terms of a regular weekday when you train, right the way up to the match day experience, those sort of things are going to be integrated now so that they're entirely expectant of what's to come next season in terms of the players that do remain with us. There are many that won't do, and they'll part ways and go elsewhere, but there are many that will remain with us, and they have to know the standards that are expected so that this club gets back to winning games of football next year and there's a positive atmosphere around the place.
Yeah, they will be looking for leadership, of course, the players, because they are down on the floor, and the fans will as well. What's your message?
The message to the supporters is put trust in us over the next 4 games. We're going to do everything within our power to ensure that you can have something positive to see out on the pitch. Those players will be left in no uncertain terms in terms of what we expect them to produce over the next 4 games. We all owe the supporters a huge amount with that to withstand this season in terms of performances. It's not been done on purpose. There's been a multitude of things that have culminated in why we've played so poorly so often. But you're always given a chance in football with the next game and the games that follow to eradicate those mistakes and put those wrongs right.
Just finally wrapping it up, how big a chance is it then for Alex Morris, this?
I'm not thinking in those terms, Graham. We've been entrusted between now and the end of the season to safeguard the club and look after what's happening out on that pitch. So it really is a short-term view at the minute. That's not me showing a lack of ambition. That's not me showing a lack of desire to remain in the job, because I'd love to take the job long-term, because I've been at this club for a long, long time. I believe I have the credentials to do that and do that really well. But predominantly at the minute, let's get through these next 4 games. Let's put some positive things into practice so that it's evident for the supporters, so that they go into a long summer, a long off-season and a pre-season without any competitive football, feeling positive with what's to come. And we have every confidence we're going to be able to do that.